John is an expert assassin who can kill anybody by taking cash, and he is the most costly executioner in the realm of wrongdoing. Subsequent to bringing in a ton of cash from his work, John has now taken retirement since he needs to carry on with a casual existence with his better half, Natasha. One day Natasha says, "I will spend time with one of my closest companion Nora for a couple of days. That is the reason I believe you should deal with her stepdaughter, Sungyun, since her dad has disappeared from her after divorce with Nora and she is 17 years of age." Hearing this, John says that the young lady is 17 years of age and she can deal with herself. Despite his initial reluctance, John reluctantly agrees to babysit Sungyun at Natasha's insistence. The following day, John drops off Natasha and Nora at the airport and later meets Sungyun at a coffee shop. During their conversation, Sungyun expresses her desire to stay at a friend's house for the night, to which John consents. Before parting ways, John discreetly places a tracking device in Sungyun's wallet, along with some money, to ensure her safety. John drops Sungyun and her companion off at the shopping center and returns home. However, around midnight, Sungyun calls John and says that she has extreme stomach torment, so John rapidly goes there to help her. Upon arriving, he is shocked to see that Sungyun is getting a charge out of with a young man who is her senior. Seeing this, John feels betrayed. John realizes Sungyun has deceived him. Despite John's questions, Sungyun remains silent as she chats on the phone. Frustrated, John tries to leave, asked her to go with him, but she again tells him that she has an invitation to her another friend's house. As John prepares to depart, he notices Sungyun leaving with her senior, confirming his suspicions. John then sees some intoxicated girls and understands his responsibility to protect Sungyun. He tracks Sungyun's location through a device in her wallet and finds her in a deserted area. Inside, we see a young lady named Donna who tells Sungyun that on the off chance that you satisfy my client, I will give both of you $100. Here we discover that Sungyun Sr. has deliberately brought her here. Donna warned Sungyun that she must comply or she wouldn't be allowed to leave. Upon hearing this, Sungyun hurled insults at Donna. As Donna raised her hand to strike, John intervened, cautioning everyone that he would not tolerate any harm coming to Sungyun. Mistaking John for an ordinary individual, Sungyun Sr. initiates a confrontation, but John, a skilled fighter, swiftly disarms him. This triggers a brawl involving all the boys present, yet John effortlessly overpowers them. He commands the group to disperse, but in a sudden twist, Donna lunges at him with a knife. Unharmed, John retaliates with a punch that renders Donna unconscious. Following this incident, John departs with Sungyun, who, impressed by John's actions, begins to view him in a new light, paving the way for a strong friendship between them. At night, both of them dine out and on their way back home, they encounter a police checkpoint. Officer Lee halts John's car and questions him. Lee informs John that some college students have been murdered in the area, hence the ongoing checks. After a brief exchange of questions and answers, Lee allows John to proceed. Later, when John gets home, he researches the incident online and discovers that the victims were the same boys he had confronted the previous night. Upon reading this news, John experiences a twinge of remorse for his actions. The following morning, Officer Lee arrives at John's residence to question him, harboring suspicions. Lee presents John with CCTV footage showing his car near the crime scene the previous night. Inquisitively, Lee asks, "What was your car doing there?" John, with clever evasion, responds that it wasn't only his car, other vehicles had also taken the same route. Undeterred, Lee shows John another photograph featuring Sungyun alongside the boys who were tragically murdered. However, John dismisses it, citing the photo's lack of clarity. Lee's precise investigation leaves John feeling wary of him. As Lee departs, Sungyun approaches John, her face filled with fear. She apologizes, and in that moment, John recalls a girl from his past. This girl, on the brink of suicide, had lost all hope. But John intervened, urging her to let go of her pain and forge ahead in life. Subsequently, Donna contacts Sungyun and engages in a conversation with John. She reveals that all the boys involved are now deceased. Furthermore, Donna possesses the very knife that John had taken from those boys, and it bears his fingerprints. she ominously warns John that if he fails to visit her within an hour, she will hand over all the evidence to the police, potentially putting him in jeopardy. Faced with this ultimatum, John reluctantly agrees to meet Donna. Before departing, he discreetly hands Sung-young a bracelet containing a hidden tracking device. John departs to confront Donna, leaving Sung-young by herself. Approaching a building, John encounters Jang, Donna's cousin, whose nefarious trade involves abducting and selling underage girls. Jang commands his henchmen to eliminate John, but John overpowers the assailant with ease. He demands the knife with his fingerprints from Donna, but she denies his request. In response, John begins to inflict pain on Jang's henchman, which terrifies Jang into tossing the knife toward John. As John reaches for the knife, Jang fires a shot at him and flees with the knife. John immediately pursues Jang into a room. In this passage, John encounters a formidable opponent who challenges him to a fight. Despite the intense battle, John emerges victorious but leaves his adversary severely wounded. After the confrontation, John returns home only to discover that a group has abducted Sung-young. Utilizing the tracking device embedded in Sung-young's bracelet, John swiftly pinpoints her location. Armed and determined, he sets out to rescue her. Upon reaching a desolate street, John launches an attack, prompting Donna to flee. However, John manages to apprehend her. He demands to know Sung-young's whereabouts, to which Donna warns that harming her would lead to Sung-yoon's death at the hands of her associates. John, opting against lethal force, resorts to torture, compelling Donna to divulge the entire truth. Donna explains that their operation involves abducting young girls for sale. She mentions that Sung-yoon, being both appealing and untouched, was specifically chosen by a client who paid a substantial sum for her abduction. They cater to such client requests by providing girls as demanded. When John inquires about Sung-yoon's location, Donna reluctantly provides him with the address of a hotel where Sung-yoon is being held. John inquires about the client who requested Sung-yoon, but Donna admits she doesn't know the client's identity. However, her boss does. John then heads to the hotel where Sung-yoon is believed to be held. After John's departure, the police arrive, and Officer Lee, upon searching the premises, discovers Donna deceased in a room. Upon arriving at the hotel, John is immediately ambushed by the occupants. Despite being outnumbered, John, a seasoned fighter, swiftly dispatches his attackers. However, he discovers that Sung-yoon is not at this location. At that moment, Yuri, a professional fighter affiliated with the Russian mafia, confronts John. Yuri reveals that Sung-yoon is scheduled to be shipped to Russia at 8 a.m. the following day, and boldly declares his intent to eliminate John right now. Determined to rescue Sung-yoon, John refrains from engaging in a fight with Yuri. However, Yuri persists and follows him, leading to an intense battle between the two skilled fighters. Seizing a moment, John uses a rope to tie Yuri and leaps out of the window, landing on Officer Lee's car. Confronted by Officer Lee, who demands he go to the station, John tactically disarms her and takes her hostage, commandeering her vehicle to continue his quest to save Sung-yoon. John reaches the cargo port where Sung-yoon is about to be shipped off to Russia. He spots her in a car and swiftly takes down the kidnappers, rescuing Sung-yoon. During the chaos, John confronts them, but John subdues him and demands to know the mastermind behind Sung-yoon's abduction. John remains silent, prompting John to shoot him. Leah witnesses the ordeal in horror. Searching John discovers a mobile phone with a recent call made to Officer Lee. John realizes that Officer Lee is complicit with the traffickers. He confronts Lee, threatening to expose his corruption to the media unless he discloses the ringleader's identity. As the police approach, Lee capitulates, fabricating a story to his colleagues that the events were part of a police sting. Subsequently, he dispatches John and Sung-yoon to the hospital under the guise of ensuring their safety. In the hospital, as Sung-young regains consciousness, she expresses regret to John, blaming herself for the turmoil. John reassures her, insisting she's not at fault. Meanwhile, Lee informs John that he's covered up the multiple homicides John committed during Sung-young's rescue. John confronts Lee, revealing his awareness of Lee's affiliation with Jang's boss, deduced from finding Donna's corpse in Lee's car trunk. He surmises that Lee disposed of Donna's body to prevent the police from tracing back to the boss. Lee is taken aback by John's knowledge. John insists that Lee gather information on the Russian mafia involved in human trafficking. Initially, Lee hesitates, citing the danger of the task, but acquiesces when John threatens to reveal evidence that could ruin Lee's career. The following day, Lee contacts John with the location of a hotel where an individual named Park is staying. Park belongs to the same criminal organization that abducts underage girls and traffics them to Russia. Simultaneously, Park becomes aware that an Interpol officer is closing in on their location. In a desperate attempt to escape, Park hastily leaves the hotel. However, John intercepts him. With ruthless efficiency, John eliminates Park's accomplices, one by one. He confronts Park, inflicting severe injuries, demanding information about the man who ordered Sung-yoon's abduction. Park reveals that a woman, known within their circle as Pig Mama, is deeply involved in their illicit business. John learns from Pig Mama's call that the man behind the demand for Sung-yoon is a judge named Kim Park. Park reveals their sinister operation: they abduct underage girls, and the judge indulges with one of them, while the remaining girls are sold in Russia and Asia at exorbitant prices. After extracting all the information from Park, John eliminates him as well. He contacts an associate, urgently requesting their presence. Soon, a specialized team arrives, meticulously cleaning the crime scene and disposing of all evidence. This team exclusively serves gangsters and the mafia, leaving no trace behind. Following these events, John meets with an associate who deals in arms. From this contact, John acquires a powerful sniper rifle, fully equipping himself for the task ahead. Just then, Lee contacts John and reveals crucial information: the mastermind behind everything is a judge who holds a prominent position in the Central District. This judge's identity is intertwined with influential politicians, making him untouchable for Lee. Undeterred, John insists on obtaining the judge's address. As a seasoned professional killer, he fears no politician or officer. Lee discloses that Sung-yoon's father died in a car accident, leaving her in the care of her stepmother. Armed with this information, John arrives at the hotel where Judge Kim is entangled with several attractive women. Methodically, John eliminates each of the judge's henchmen using a sniper rifle. Meanwhile, Pig Mama introduces a new girl to please the judge. As John relentlessly takes down everyone, Yuri, another formidable adversary, opens fire. Amidst the chaos, Officer Lee, who had been accompanying John, seizes an opportunity and holds him at gunpoint. Yuri apprehends John and presents him before the judge. John boldly questions the judge, asking if he is the same man who ordered Sung-yoon's abduction. The judge merely smiles in response. He instructs Lee to eliminate John, and they exit together. However, John launches a surprise attack on Lee. More assailants converge, aiming to end John's life, but he swiftly dispatches them all. Addressing Lee, John reveals that he allowed himself to be captured to reach the judge. In a decisive move, John kills Lee. Next, Yuri enters the scene, firing shots at John. A fierce battle ensues between the two skilled combatants. Despite Yuri's best efforts, John prevails, severely injuring Yuri and ultimately taking his life. Now facing the judge, John senses the imminent danger. The judge, aware of John's intent, tempts him with money and proposes an alliance. John inquires about Pig Mama from the judge, who reveals that Pig Mama collaborates with him in their illicit business. After extracting all the necessary details about Pig Mama, John proceeds to eliminate the judge. Meanwhile, Natasha and her best friend Nora engage in conversation. Nora receives a call from an unexpected source, the judge's phone. It turns out that Nora has been deeply involved in the trafficking of girls, working closely with the judge. Nora's daughter isn't Sung-yoon, she's her stepdaughter. Nora, in fact, was selling her adopted daughter for a substantial sum. The judge had confided these details to John. After eliminating the judge, John contacts Nora using Judge's phone. When Nora answers the call while driving, she is startled to find John sitting right behind her. In reality, Nora remained blissfully unaware of John's true identity as a professional assassin. To her, he was just an ordinary person. John swiftly whisks Nora away from the city, assuring her that he will protect Sung-yoon. True to his word, he eliminates the threat. John then contacts the specialized team responsible for cleaning crime scenes, ensuring that all evidence is meticulously erased. Following these intense events, John reunites with his wife, embracing her tightly. It's during this poignant moment that we discover the truth: the girl John had once saved from suicide was none other than Natasha. And with this revelation, the movie ends here.